trust me, I know off key. I sing off key. I know off key, Chris, and that was a little bit off key. I'm just saying. But UNC was off key all season. The same team that we saw in November was the same team we saw play across the street at the Greensboro Coliseum. Nothing evolved, nothing changed. And here's the thing. They needed that win against Virginia earlier this week, just a couple of days ago. They needed that win because I think if UNC had got to today, they would have found themselves in the NCAA tournament because you got a big win over Virginia, and you also would have had a good win over Clemson, another bubble team that you're competing against. But here's the thing.
Or at least yesterday. I was just going to say. If they made it to yesterday because they would have beaten Virginia again twice.
I think they would have, but I think a win. But here's the thing. They would have been competing against another bubble team in Clemson. So I think that a win against Clemson would have punched their ticket. But something I'm going to on the court here with Hubert Davis. There's a lot of praise we should give Hubert Davis. We're going to do that here in a moment. But something that showed on the court for me that concerned me, but he's, again, still just a second-year head coach, something that he's going to have to learn, is they kept scratching and clawing and making runs against Virginia to get within a couple, all right? To get within a couple of points. They got it to 57-55 late in that game against Virginia, and they have multiple possessions where they could have tied the game, maybe got within one or even taken the lead. Hubert Davis not once called a timeout. When that game ended, he still had 2 timeouts remaining. Yeah. He did not once call a timeout to sit there and say, hey, guys, let's settle down. Let's focus. Here's what we're going to run. This is what's working. No, he just let his guys just throw up bad shots. Caleb Love was just chucking the ball from all over the place, wasn't hitting anything, as opposed to maybe running something, getting something set up, just settling his team down. No, he let them go, and they weren't able to seal the deal against Virginia. They could have won that game. Yeah, they could have won that game against Virginia, but those are things in game that he needs to continue to evolve. And in the first half, again, in college basketball, those who don't know, you get 4 timeouts in a game, but if you don't use one of those timeouts in the first half, you lose it. So it's a use it or lose it timeout. Yep. He doesn't use that timeout in the first half. He doesn't. It's like you have opportunities, again, to make sure your team is organized and set and ready to go, and he did not do it. And I think that's where he let his team down against Virginia. The fact that he still had 2 timeouts in his pocket at the end of the game with all those possessions in the final 5 minutes where they could have got things organized, never did.
Look, that's a Carolina thing, though, because Roy Williams was the exact same way.
Yeah, but you're not Roy, though.
I feel
you. Different.
And
that's a different group.
But that they have some sort of philosophy, and we have to ask Hubert Davis about this specifically, to ask him why. But Roy Williams would always say, well, we practice these sort of situations, and I don't want to stop the momentum of the game. I feel you on that. I understand where you're coming from. But I'm going to show you a good example of using your timeouts. Last night at the Greensboro Coliseum, where we're looking, John Shire out-coached Jim Larinaga.
Yeah, he did. I know exactly where you're going with this.
That is why Duke won. Because to me, and outside of Norchad or Omier getting hurt, because that was a huge part of the game.
Yeah, first minute of the game.
But taking that out of it, one of the reasons why Duke won is because they out-coached the Miami coaching staff. And one of the ways that John Shire did that is anytime Miami went on a little bit of a run, timeout.
Yeah. In
the second half, Duke was ahead. Miami comes up, gets it within 2, timeout. He stopped the game, refocuses his guys, and it worked every time because Duke always came out of those timeouts and they went on runs.
You know, I actually saw this. So back to an example yesterday of that is it was late in the game. I think Miami had just called timeout, or maybe they're coming out of immediate timeout. But Shire saw how they were setting up. Miami was setting up for a press and immediately called a 30-second timeout.
Yep.
He's like, you know what? We're going to use a little extra time. I'm going to see what they're going to do. I'm going to call timeout. But you mentioned about potential runs and stuff. When NC State played at Cameron Indoor Stadium just a few weeks ago, I remember Dewana had a block late in the first half. I think it was Jarkel Joyner comes down the other end of the floor, hits a 3-pointer. Timeout. Killed a potential momentum shift there late in the first half. And you know what? Duke finished the first half strong and then started the second half great.
But you know who you got that
things
from?
Like that.
Coach K. But on the other end, you said he's not Roy Williams. Well, John Shire's not Coach K, but he understands it, and he does that. So,
but it's coaching to your team's needs.
I feel you on that, but I think it's literally a philosophy. And so, outside of what your team's needs are, they're going by a particular philosophy. Now, I don't know enough about Dean Smith. He retired when I was 11 years old, and I don't remember, X's and O's and stuff when all that happened. But there's a philosophy that clearly Roy Williams and Hubert Davis go by. There's a philosophy that John Shire and Mike and Coach K go by. So I think that's going to be a part of it, but I think that's something that Hubert Davis needs to go away from if you are going to have some success on this level. Your timeouts are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Use them.
Yeah.
Use them. You don't have to use all 4, but use them.
They should have used at least one of those there late. The team needed it. I understand having a philosophy and trying to, quote, stick to your guns. I get it, but you know what? You needed that win. Coach to what you need.
Can I call a quick timeout?
No.
Because my mom texted me and said I was not off key, and she said, "Sing it, baby." So I just want you to know that. All right, time in. So going back.
Get that out of here.
Going back to North Carolina, they're going to have to make some wholesale changes for next year.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things, and I said this on the OG the other day, but I want to expound on it a little bit more. I think that Armando Bacot, thank you for your service. You had 4 great years here. You're going to go down as the all-time leading rebounder, and he got something else, right? It was, I forgot.
Yeah,
what it was.
most double-doubles.
Most double-doubles. That's what it was.
He did allude to after the game the other night that it was his last game.
So, and I know his dad is trying to talk him into coming back. I heard that come out of his dad's mouth at Carolina a week ago. So there might be some family pressure to get him to come back. But thank you for your service. Go pro or transfer.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Caleb Love, it's been 3 great years. I'm not sure you fit with us. Thank you for your service.
Hey, you know what? You had a great moment. You hitting that 3-pointer over Mark Williams in the Final Four against Duke.
You will forever be a Tar Heel. You'll be a part of our family.
You had that wonderful moment.
Thank you so much for your service. Transfer or go pro.
Yeah.
RJ Davis, we need you, bro.
Yeah.
Stay here.
He's been their best player.
What type of 2-guard works well with you? Tell me what you need, because we can try to find that in the transfer portal, and we're going to look at some guys together, and you can help us recruit and get some guys in here.
Yeah.
And DeMarco Dunn, you've done a great job. We're going to need you to step up next year. And then you start talking to these guys to try to keep him in there. Like, he's going to have a whole new crew of guys because Pete Nance isn't coming back, and I'm not sure if a lot of people want him to come back.
I think he's out of eligibility as is anyway.
He is, but I mean, Carolina fans don't really jive with him right now.
Yeah.
And then, Justin McCoy, is he going to use his COVID year? If he does, it's probably somewhere else because he hasn't been getting playing time. I think he got a raw deal coming to Carolina.
Yeah.
Dontrez Styles, he's going to be out. Came here, highly ranked recruit, didn't play for 2 years. He's going somewhere else. I mean, we're not saying this is what's actually happening,
but there's going to be a big turnover in the roster.
They
got a bunch of dudes coming in.
Yeah. So I mean, we got to see. We're going to see what's happening, but right now, Hubert needs to get his guys in here.
Yeah.
He still has a lot of Roy Williams holdovers, and we see John Shire pretty much has his guys. And look how it's working out. So brand new team. Look how it's working out. Hubert Davis needs his guys in there so he can start from the ground up, and he hasn't had a chance.
The thing about with Duke is got to head to a break here in a moment. They had 5 freshmen on the floor last night at times during that game against Miami.
Yeah.
But the only holdover from last season that actually plays, Jeremy Roach. That's it. Like, he's the one mainstay.
John Shire recruited him.
Yeah, Shire recruited him. Otherwise, it's 5 freshmen and a couple grad transfers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a totally clean slate for them, and I think it's something that North Carolina needs as well. I will say, though, I mean, you said it, Hubert Davis did kind of hold things together with that team, though, as best as he could.
We're going to look back in a few years when things come out about this team from this year.
Yeah.
Because they clearly don't like each other. Like, we're privy to certain information that is not our responsibility, or we can't say anything because we don't want to get into that mess. But it's clear that there are some guys on that team that don't like each other, and we know some things that make that proof.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out in 5 or 6 years that Hubert Davis is actually the one holding things together. Where Carolina fans are like, Hubert Davis needs to get out of here. No, Hubert Davis is the reason why you're still in it right now.
Oh yeah,
because he is holding this thing together.
Having gone in the locker rooms this week for Duke, State, and North Carolina, you can tell which teams actually do like each other.